2, 1.
Welcome one, welcome all back to Mythic versus Flow State. Here in game number 2, still spooky and HD Philly B to take you through this one. Philly, we've just seen Flow State put themselves up one game in this best of 3 here in the grand finals. Mythic had some shiny lights for sure during that game. Very close throughout most of it. It's just that one ace at the end that leads to Flow State walking down the entirety of the map. Taking the lessons from game 1, what changes here in game 2?
I mean, you're right, Spooky. At the end of that match, it was 18 to 18 deaths. It's not like Mythic couldn't kill. They didn't. It's not like they didn't have the kill potential. They just didn't have
18,
the.
18 deaths is crazy.
Yeah, right. They well, 18 eliminations either side, right? Yeah, one character having 18 deaths, that would be absolutely wacky. You should probably not play in the PCC Grand Finals. Either way, Mythic just
Hey, I
didn't.
can make it.
Same. If they put us in the Caster Cup, and Crater Cup, then people will see 18 deaths. But Mythic, they just didn't have the group fight, the team fight, and the engagement opportunity. So they lost
Mhm.
every team fight. But if they were skirmishing in the jungle or in the lane, they
Yeah.
were able to find what they needed to do. Here in this composition that they have now, they don't have team fight once again. I mean, your mid laner is Howitzer, which is basically a burst
Yeah.
mage, an assassination mage, right? He just wants to just unload his whole
Yeah.
arsenal of missiles. Hopefully that kills you. If he doesn't, he's screwed. Crunch, an assassin. Uh, Kira, Belika, right? All just single target abilities. So they're trying to go for more of this pick comp, but it's really going to be off of Grady on one of his signature heroes, the robotic boxer, to really facilitate some of these wins in lane. They want to win the lane and facilitate that and roll that early lead into objectives. But Mercy now, he says, Grady cracks his knuckles. Let me show you how it's done, how Terra can actually, facilitate in the jungle. So a lot on Grady's back here too. Finally, we're seeing Simba on the Countess in the mid lane. She's been locked basically in the off lane. You have to play her off lane, but
Yeah.
Simba is notorious for assassin mid laners. He loves that kind of style of play. He's very aggressive. He's very cocky, but also hilarious dude on the back end as well. So I'm interested to see. I think Countess wins this matchup just because she can run circles around the howitzer. So Appy's gonna have to be very
Yeah.
careful on his most favorite pick on the hamster and the robot.
I'm really interested to see how this mid lane matchup kind of pans out as this game goes on further
Mm-hmm.
because it's kind of a mirror opposite, right? Simba's on the Countess who wants to be right in the thick of things, eliminating, assassinating, sustaining. Whereas Appy on this Howie wants to sit way far back, dropping missiles from downrange. But I want to hone in on one other thing that you mentioned pretty early on there. Mythic has once again drafted a team that doesn't have a whole lot of team fight, but it does feel a little bit more focused in the intent, right?
Mm.
They've gone a little bit harder on we're looking for the picks. How sustainable is that for Team Mythic? And do you think these pieces come together well to drive that playstyle, finding a pick and transitioning that into objectives?
I think it is pretty sustainable in this matchup because a lot of these characters are squishy, right? You have an assassin in the off lane, it's not a bruiser. You have an assassin in the mid lane, so I think it is pretty sustainable. But I love Peak here on the Aurora. We didn't even mention that. They
Ooh,
pick up the first blood on the Aurora nonetheless.
we don't need it on Mercy to find some kills. Now looking at Cure, Maguli coming around from the side as well. Doesn't quite have the damage and range to put Cure down at this point. That was an excellent glacial charge to start that fight off, separate things. Now Grady finds Mercy over here on the stairs as well. Should be able to walk away no problem. Simba helps out, make sure his jungle gets out.
Yeah, and the most important thing there is Mercy doesn't have to expend the blink to get out, use the Wild Rush, but he did spend a significant
Yeah.
amount of time just kind of hovering over this Howitzer, waiting for the elimination, when the Prio wasn't even in the lane. It was kind of just hovering in the middle. So Howitzer was kind of safe knowing that his minions were around him, because we all know the creep aggro is insane. If you even touch a hero when there's creeps
Oh my
around, you are
god.
getting swarmed by those little robot men. So yeah, a little bit of lost time there for Mercy, but I feel like he had some time to spare, for lack of a better term. Was
Mhm.
able to do it there, but he sees his duo lane kind of pushed in. He's going for a gank.
Mercy wants a little bit more here. Looking at Cure, who's half health. Link's not quite available. Knockup comes through. The dash is good. Cure's going to be fine for right now. You can see Grady made that rotation as well. Here to help out if need be. There's just no kill potential here instead. Gonna look for that gold buff, try to get this dual lane a little bit further ahead in the gold department. Fangtooth does spawn in, but I don't know if those health bars are looking too good for it right now.
Yeah, Mercy, and that's what we talked about, the difficulty of the gank from Terra. You have to hit that the Highland Hurl. If you don't, you can't get anything done. That one connected onto a creep, which then alerted the dual lane to back off. They had the peel for it with the Bellica, so then Mercy can't do anything. But what he did do is force a reset, not only for his own dual lane, but for the opposite dual lane. So now both squads are kind of coming in fresh for this first Fangtooth of the match. Now this is a matchup that I love to see. BKB taking on
Oh
Lobber,
my
those two going
god.
toe to toe. Oh, but Grady is here.
Woo!
He's trying to level the scales.
Good blink. That's going to get BKB out of the danger zone. We didn't talk about this run back from BKB. I don't know if this Yuri solo found the success it was looking for in game number 1, right? It did a good job of holding its own against the Countess early on, but as things went on, few engagements didn't quite seem like they were matched up the way they wanted to be. Clearly, BKB doesn't think this was a performance issue, just getting right back on the horse. How do you feel about seeing this Yuri come back?
Oh, I love it. I love Ure in the off lane because you're giving her
Okay, gross
levels.
statement.
um, so you're she's allowed to gain experience there in the off lane with by attacking these minions and getting experience, which then allows her to get the ultimate online. And that's really what you need because when you're off laner, when it's time for the second Fangtooth or for time for a mini prime, you want to have an impactful ultimate just in case there is a contest. I think in game number 1, BKB did his job. He did the counter engage against the black hole, right, to kind of nullify that and
Mhm.
counteract it. He protected the flank, though sometimes he lost the 1v1, sometimes he won it. That happens, right? You can't win every one, otherwise you'd be there's the
Why not?
craziest predecessor person ever. But I think he did enough in his job. So I wouldn't say it was a bad pick or he played poorly. I think he did exactly what he needed to do. It's just not always things that show up on the stat sheet.
Well, Appy now gets the little visit from Peak. Mercy also looking to make his way in. Grady gets separated by the wall, isn't able to get into this fight quite as quickly as he'd like. Maguli from the back end as well. Flow State looking to collapse, but Maguli gets taken down by Toasty before he can get in there. Now looking for a few more exchanges. BKB's made the rotation over, looking to trade Toasty out, assassinates him right from the back. Pulls things back in favor of Flow State, and that opens up this Fangtooth. Now looking to hunt some dinosaurs.
And so BKB was able to dash through, use the Soul Storm, and that split the fight there and kind of forced Toasty to be in an awkward spot. And obviously, Assassin's going to find a lonely prey every day of the week and take that down. But I think they did enough
Yeah.
damage throughout that fight to just back off Mythic. Yeah, they didn't lose too many people, just Toasty, but they spent all their resources, didn't get much out of it. And then they're like, we got to give this up because if we die and also lose the Fangtooth, that's going to be even worse. At least we can get back to lane and push. You can see the
Yeah.
Twong over here in the off lane just pushing those creeps forward to kind of reset the lane.
They were able to eliminate Maguli in that
Mm-hmm.
fight, which, after his performance in game number 1, feels pretty crucial to find success in this game. You mentioned Lobber's been pushing up. Well, seems like everyone has noticed that. BKB forces out a blink
Oh,
from the Kwong. Super low there, not quite enough damage online just yet. BKB tries to go for that kill. He's going to find Grady lurking in the jungle waiting for him. That's a lot of damage that comes from the fists. Good idea to take a step back. Peak starts up this mini prime.
and that's the mobility of the Uri. She's so hard to lock down. And what does Quang have? The tether? Well, the tether you can easily dodge it, right? So easily BKB can win those 1v1s, and that opens up the space for the prime because Grady decided to save his offlaner, then protect the objective, which that's a really tough decision to make as a jungler. And this is
Yeah.
what Flow State wants to do. They just want to ransack, quickly nab the cookies out of the jar, and then run away. And they know they got the goods they came for. The prime is on Mercy.
That's going to be a big piece of leverage because Mercy's been all over this map so far. We've seen him in the dual lane, we've seen him in off lane, we've seen him in mid lane.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he has this mini prime, we can certainly expect him to start leveraging these enhanced minions as
Ooh.
BKB falls under the tier 1 tower. Lobber makes an excellent dive. Tells BKB, if you want to find a win, you got to make sure you kill me right the first time. Has to be careful not to run into Mercy, though.
I love that engage because Lauber was able to go back and get his first buy, which was the Tainted Scepter, which you have to buy against the
Mm-hmm.
Ure because she can heal herself with the Anima Burst. So he knows he's had a power spike there quickly on item 1. He's got a little bit of durability. He just says, screw it, I'm going in. And he does just that, uses the Fury of the Heavens. It strikes clean, cleaves through this assassin, right? And is able to take her down in that 1v1. So I like that aggression there from Lauber to kind of win the engagement. And now he's free to maybe go somewhere else if he chooses to help around the map.
So far, this pressure has been good for Flow State across the map here. I would love to see Lauber get out of that lane, try to help some of these lanes out.
Mm.
Grady does eat the Cryoseism, able to dash away, no danger here. Maguli drops a second ult ventilate, not going to find a whole lot of damage, but it does push Mythic back under that tier 1 tower. A lot of rotation coming out from Flow State. They're all hovering around this left side, drawing the eyes of Mythic, forcing them to come defend this tier 1 tower. 3 strong around the tower. Grady comes in as well, 4-on-4. Not going to be finding too much fighting, but what it does do is open up that right side, alleviate some of that pressure, make sure BKB can get that farming going and keep Lauber under control after that first death.
For sure. And I think that's a good tactical decision here from the side of F8 because everything's kind of been a little bit of a stalemate. They're like, okay, let's force the issue. Let's force to see what Mythic will do. How will they react to us? Here's Lauber once
Ow!
again going for it.
Now, Lauber says, you know what? You can draw as many eyes to the left side as you want. I will take the fight to you any day of the week. Forces out the blink from BKB. That has a lot of pressure now gained from Mythic. If there's anything the Mythic wants to play through right now, it's Lauber on this Kwang.
But you can see he's about to get collapsed upon, my friend. The Highland Hurl just barely whips him here, but Simba's on the case. Looks like she'll assassinate him. One more hit will do it. And Lauber, he just
Boom!
overstays his welcome over there in the off lane.
Just doesn't have the vision down, Philly, to see that rotation coming in. The collapse was good from Flow State. And it's just how quickly this team will move around the map. They took the conventional ideas of laning and said, pish posh, to hell with that. The entire map is my territory. And they've been showing that time and time again here. Now, collapsing once more around this Fangtooth. Mythic currently has more members here. We've seen how quickly Flow State can get there.
And you point out something really crucial, and it's this movement speed from the side of Flow State. All of their characters have pretty quick feet, or an ability that can move them across the map, so they are able to get onto these rotations quite quickly. Whereas you're seeing a Belica, she kind of just trots her way along, right? The Kwang's not super fast, right? The Hamster definitely not. So yeah, I really like that. They're able to maneuver around the map pretty quickly. Now they found themselves in a position to go for this Fangtooth, but I don't know if Mythic's going to let him take it for free.
I always thought Howie more is a gerbil than anything. Lauber coming around here. Grady's got the backup as well. Appy takes BKB into the sky, drops the Anima Burst. Not going to find anything there. Lauber gets taken out of the fight by Maguli. Grady sent packing as the rest of Mythic tries to come in and clean this one up. Being driven back to their tier 1 towers. Flow State still standing 4 strong. Maguli takes down Toasty. Looking for a little bit more here. Appy and Cure both low, but not in the grave just yet. BKB not going to find too much kill potential here. Instead, sends Kieran under that tower and walk away with their Fangtooth.
And that was a great. Normally, the team, if they're going to give up the Fangtooth, they try to go for the exit kills. This time, Flow State's like, we'll nab the Fangtooth and we'll get our exit kills on our way out. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. And that was off of the back of a great Soulstorm from the side of BKB. It connected onto 2, and like we talked about, it's a budget black hole. It just absorbs you, slams you down, does a ton of damage, rips the soul out of your body, and then the follow-up was there. The only reason why Appy was able to get out of that is he had to make it rain online. So as soon as he was slammed down, he panicked, hit the ultimate button, was able to fly away over the ledge. But if he hadn't had that, he would have been a goner. And that is the power of this Yuri. That ultimate is so dang strong. Lauber didn't even stand a chance.
Yeah. If that was me, I hit the the Howie ult at the start and get pulled back down by the Soulstorm. Happens every time to me. Now with this mini prime up, I gotta ask the big question, Philly.
Mm-hmm.
Soulstorm, more damage, bigger gravitational pull. Is Soulstorm a budget black hole, or is Black Hole a budget Soulstorm?
Oh, yeah, actually, I mean, you're right, Spooky. In my opinion, Soulstorm's way better than Black Hole because Black Hole's slow. It puts you in danger. And you can see she just used it right there. She's in danger, though. It's a good swing from Grady.
BKB taken out of the fight early on, but the rest of Flow State coming on in. Gully making the long trip around as Grady's sent over the stairs trying to find a way back out of this fight. Flow State locked on. They know who they want to kill to make sure they can get this mini prime. No opportunity to take down the jungler though, and Lauber is here. He's healthy. We've seen the damage he can do. Instead, let's do a gear shift. Flow State changes tactics, looks at this tier 1 and says, fine, we can't get the mini prime, but you sure as hell can't have a tier 1.
Nappy, he goes
Boy,
over
Happy
the
takes
top.
the skies.
Yeah, he sure does.
Gonna drop back down. He'll be just fine for now. That should be the end of this fight. Flow State gonna make their ways back out of this one. Feeling pretty good.
And I like that call there from Flow State because they didn't have the Soulstorm, which is kind of their main engage tool. That's what they're going to be using here for a lot of these fights, and then followed up with a Cryoseism, which just came back online. They didn't have those two big, impactful AoE ultimates, so they said, okay, what's an easier objective that we know we can take safely? The mid-tier 1. And we all know the mid-tier 1 is the key to the map. It really gives you a lot more space to maneuver, and when you're playing this fast-paced comp with these assassins, you want to be able to maneuver undercover without being spotted. You can see that there's a ward drop there close to the mid lane from Mythic because they know they need to have that vision to see if people are crossing over there towards some of these objectives. But because they took the tower, Mini Prime is still available for another like 3 minutes. So you know these teams are getting done for it.
And to your point of how crucial it is to have these assassins moving around the map, you can see Mythic's been paying a lot of attention over to BKB on this Yurei this game. They are not wanting to just let him do his thing and hang around on his outskirts. They've been trying to pressure him and lock him out of these fights. This might be an opportunity for him to get active, though, as Lauber separates himself quite a bit from the team, jumps back in, but the Soulstorm comes through, looking to put some damage out, and just like that, 2 drop on Mythic. All 5 still standing strong for Flow State. A triple kill for Maguli. He just takes shot after shot, put him in the grave, and that opens up everything they're looking for.
RGSAs, please nerf Soulstorm. Like, dude, that shit is crazy. Like, they sectioned off Lauber. He didn't know which way to turn, left or right. Simba's like, all right, we're going on him. They go on him. Grady's like, I gotta save my friend. He dives in, and then as soon as the wall drops, everyone's like, oh, the gate is open. Let's rush through. That's exactly when the trap is sprung. Soulstorm goes in, sucks everybody up, slams them all down. Maguli just tosses in a bunch of grenades and kills everybody. And that fight is that. They can take the mid-tier 2, roll that right into Fang number 3.
And just make sure Maguli is sent away from the Fangtooth that you're looking for. Grady is here to try to contest this one, but it's going to be a tough look if he's trying to steal this one. Instead, gets zoned out by BKB, and just like that, before Mythic can even lay eyes on this Fangtooth, he's taken down. Toasty separated away. Glacial Charge, make sure he's got nowhere to go. The rest of the team is here. Appy making it rain down from the skies, puts one in the ground. Happy though, does land back to safety. It's a shutdown for Cure, taking out Maguli there. They don't have the numbers to keep up this aggression. They got 3 in the mid lane. It's going to be a tough look to try to take that.
And their waves are against them, so it's not like they can
no
do
way.
a quick rotation. That was a whiff there from BKB, but maybe more of just a deterrent, my friend. I think we're still battling here in the mid lane.
Wait, do we win this? Does Flow State somehow turn this? Apparently so. Mercy takes out Appy. Now looking to try to bring Cure out into the grave as well. Not going to find too much there. He's going to go down. And Flow State with an iffy decision to engage, but BKB apparently knows what's up. Leads the team to a win.
And I think he caught the indecision of Mythic. Mythic was like, do we go for it? They checked the map. They're like, crap, this is really the only thing we can. We have a small advantage. Maybe let's try to spring it open. So then BKB is like, okay, let me jump in with the Soulstorm. He whiffs. They're like, that forces Mythic to be like, okay, that's their big engage tool. It's gone. Let's try to go back in. But little do they know, the reinforcements for the side of F8 were coming through the fog wall, and they were able to take some eliminations there. And Mythic, they just can't find their footing into this match. And it's because how do they engage here, friend? They want to get picks, but if the other team is playing as a unit, who do you pick off, especially with these high mobility heroes? It's
Yeah.
just very tough here for Mythic right now.
Flow State doing excellent work in trying to tidy this game up. And you take a look at the kill counts up here,
Mm-hmm.
6 to 17. This is a much cleaner game from Flow State. And Mythic's not playing badly by any means, but they're not finding those little wins to keep propelling themselves forward right now. They're very much on the back foot in the current state of the game. I mean, take a look at that mid lane. Both towers down, inhibitor exposed, even taking some damage right now. This is all before Orb Prime has even spawned in. Now at the 20-minute mark, Flow State has an objective in mind. Primal Fangtooth still half the timer waiting on that respawn. Mythic's gotta find a way to clean these fights up. But as we mentioned so much earlier, Philly, they don't have a good team fight composition, and they don't feel like they're in a spot where they can look for the picks.
Yeah, they definitely don't feel confident about taking this 5v5, but it's like, okay, where do you go to find somebody out of position? It's almost like they're playing reactively. They're waiting for F8 to make a
Yeah.
mistake, but they're one of the best in the business. They're not going to be making those missteps lightly here. There was Mercy. We know he likes to be aggressive. He does step forward, expends the ultimate, right? That's a big ultimate down for this next engagement that could be a tiny window. It's not the biggest one. We'll see if Mythic exploits it or they try to go across the map because those lanes, once again, are pushing into them. So if they take a big engagement here and they lose it outright, those creeps are going to be marching right towards the core.
It's a tough line to walk here for Mythic. They've got to find that balance. You can take a look at that map. You see Appy's all the way on that left side
Mm-hmm.
trying to push those minions up. And Flow State knows it. They see that on the map. They say, okay, pull the trigger. Go for the Orb Prime now while we can. I don't care if we have Mercy Ult or not. We have this objective. Looks like Mythic recognizes it as well. Glacial Charge comes through. Drop the Orb Prime instead. Look for the Soul Storm and take Toasty out of business. Lobber the next on the chopping block and his head's gonna roll. Simba doing good work and they all collapse into Cure. And the Cure is for life because you, my friend, are dead.
and this is the impact of the Ure. She just causes so much confusion with her ultimate ability. How do you stop it? You don't have a Decker, you don't have a Ricochet from a Zinx, you have nothing, and Abby might not have a life because BKB is on a tear. He's chasing after this hamster. All right, I think he's going to leave him alone from here, but this is the
Oh,
BKB, man. This is the Ure. It's just so freaking strong. And especially with the augment, there's the augment that she's running that decreases the cooldown by 10%. So she could just spam it each and every
hate that.
fight. And it is just the winner, the MVP ability of this game right now.
And that's a 4-for-0 fight there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Flow State walk away with all 5 members alive, or Prime on every single person, which means this Soulstorm is just going to be a bigger and bigger problem. The more pressure they find, the more work it's going to do here. Now Primal Fangtooth up on the block here. Mythic is alive. They can try to contest, but keep an eye on Lobber. He's on that right side. He says, I'm not bothering coming over. If Grady can find an opportunity, great. If not, don't throw away our lives here. We've got a better line to draw in the sand. Grady's got to be careful because BKB comes on in and drops his health bar to near zero. Did I say near zero? Completely zero. Mythic lose two and not even a hard defense of the Primal Fangtooth. Dosi finds a good knockup, but it's not enough to save his life. BKB simply dashes through the health bars and eliminates every target he's lays his eyes on.
My goodness. I mean, Mythic was just peeking through the window like, should we go? Should we not? The issue with Mythic right now is they're playing
No,
F8's game.
peaks on Flow State.
Peak is on flip. That is, you caught me there. That's a good. Intend your puns, friend. Intend them, and so he did. But the Mythic is playing F8's game. They're not playing their own game. They're playing reactively, like we talked about. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, we have to go for the Fangtooth. We have to go for something right now.
Oh!
They have to defend their core.
Oh, you can't defend it like that. Lobber gets taken away from the fight immediately. Kira trying to dash forward, trying to put some of these targets in the ground, but BKB in the back drops a Soulstorm. It's not enough to save Simba's life, and somehow Mythic might hold on to this fight for just a little bit longer. Their line is on and their backs are strong. BKB tries to find one more shot, but doesn't put Appy down. Now has to find his way back out. Toasty not going to continue this fight, but Appy might find a long-range rocket. No, the distance is too great.
Ooh, I don't know. This hamster in the robot, he wants some blood. He wants some revenge after every transgression from BKB, but shouldn't go after this anymore. Like, clear this wave and go do something else. Holy smokes. Mythic is wiping the sweat from their brow because that core is on death's door. They mounted a good defense, and this, folks, is why Mythic is one of the best teams out there. They're not a bad team. It's just they're not able to
Yeah.
play their game. They're off their tempo. They're off their rhythm. They're trying to keep up with F8. No, you cannot do that. You have to find your own win condition in the map. And I wish around that previous Fang, they just said, screw it. Lobber, you push mid or off lane. Let's maybe try to push mid a little bit. Take that side, maybe take
Yeah.
their blue side jungle. Let this Fang Tooth go. Fine, right? Will come back a little bit stronger and then mount a good defense like they did there and then get an advantage on the board. So, once again, they have to figure out their strategy, what they want to do, not just try to keep up with FA.
Look, there's no team in the business that ends up in grand finals by accident, right? Both these teams have worked hard to be here. Like you said, it's just Mythic not finding that rhythm they want to be on. And I want to hone in on something you said there because I think it's something that teams as a whole don't do enough of, and it's knowing when to give up some of these bigger objectives. If you don't have a good defense around it, you don't have to contest it. There's gold on the map that can be taken and put in your pockets to try to make this core defense look a little bit stronger. Now, they've got their backs up against the wall once again, and that core looking extremely low for this next siege.
And what's really difficult here for Mythic is that Howitzer is not the best wave clearing mage in the game here, folks. I mean, he's got
Leave him
the
alone.
mines and the grenades and everything, but he's not the Gideon, right? He's not a Bellica. He just doesn't clear as quickly. You saw him taking a couple of shots on that Mega Minion, but that's going to be really difficult because usually it's your mid lane mage that kind of helps base defense when you're turtling like this, when your backs are against the wall. So having a howitzer is definitely going to be a little thorn in your side. They're making the best use of it as they can, but this is a 1-1-3 assault on the base of Mythic right now. They have to play this clean if they want to, stay alive in this one.
Make matters worse, it's a Kira ADC as well. Kira is not known for having fantastic wave clear, right? Doesn't have a whole AoE there. Okay, really only one AoE, and it's her ultimate. Do you want to spend that in front of the enemy team on a minion wave? Probably not gonna go well for you. But so far, Mythic's done a good job of slowing things down a little bit. Flow State, not trying to push the envelope too much here. They know that inhibitor's down for a while. And take a look at that map, Philly. Look at what's coming up. Both objectives are going to be strong. And if Flow State can secure themselves an Orb Prime here, that's going to be real tough for Mythic to defend against.
Absolutely, and I thank TDM, our observer here, for the grand finals, panning through some of the heroes on the map and just showing the gold lead because of the item discrepancy. Everybody on Mythic about 3 items, maybe 3.5. A lot of people on F8 at 4. And maybe even more. So you can see just the amount of gold that they've gathered across the map from taking inhib, taking objectives, etc. And that item advantage, they know they're at a power spike right now. They know they can take any fight that they want. F8 is not scared of a single engagement. Right now, Mythic, back off of that. Go over to the Orb Prime, say, screw it, we need to do something else. But it's hard because all the waves are pushed into them. Like we talked about, their wave clear a little lackluster. So it's really tough for them to make that a trek across the map. Here's another Soulstorm connects on a 2.
Oh, there's the Soulstorm and there's the death toll. Can you hear the bells chiming? Mythic sure can. And Grady, the only one left on the map to hear the fall of his team. And he's all the way in the jungle. He can't defend this. There's no way to get there in time. However, Flow State taking their time, waiting for the minions to come up. Grady gets stopped by Mercy before he can finish his recall. And that's going to be it right there, Philly. No time for these teammates to come back up and respawn. Flow State can simply walk this minion wave in. They don't need the primal. They don't need the orb. fine. They just need the numbers.
Yeah, and that was once again Mythic just kind of hovering over the Fang Pit, being like, "Do we go for it? Do we not go for it?" And with the burst composition that F8 was playing, they can just quickly turn, pick a target, boom, you're dead. Boom, you're dead. So. Mythic, once again, just playing into F8's hands. They needed to make a different decision across the map instead of just waiting it. But maybe they knew the game was over. They're like, all right, GG's, go next. This is our Alamo. Let's see if we get something done. If we can't, it's okay. But what's not okay is that F8, they are on set point for $10,000. They win the second game, my friend. It's up to Mythic now. They have to level it.
They have to level it. The line is drawn. Can you find it within yourselves to find that win to lead yourself to a 3-point reverse sweep? Well, there's only one way to tell, and it'll come after the break.